Welcome back. Well, the media landscape in South Africa needs to be more representative. It's with this in mind that two powerhouses have come together to form a 100% black-owned large-scale media agency. Zibusiso Mkhwanazi, Executive Chairperson of MNN Brands, and Chris Botha, Group Managing Director of Park Advertising, have now created AMA, labeling it a disruptor. They want to challenge global network agencies operating in the country. So for more details on how significant this partnership is, I'm joined now by Zibusiso Mkhwanazi. Zibusiso, a pleasure speaking to you this evening. Let's talk a little bit about this partnership now. We've got Park Advertising as well as MNN, as well as now forming AMA. How significant is this partnership, and what does it mean really for the advertising space?
Okay, so what it means is, the media industry in itself is about 44 billion rands a year. Now, within this 44 billion rands, about 5 companies control about 80% of the media industry. Now, these are globally owned companies. Now, what this deal does is, for the first time in South Africa, it introduces a media agency that can buy at a large scale, similar to the 5 that control the 80%, to break that monopoly.
And when we say that we want to break the monopoly, how significant is it in allowing for more black players in the market, those medium enterprises, those agencies that are black-owned, that do not necessarily have the spend and the deep pockets to be able to go into the major corporations, to have the major campaigns? Does it shift then the dynamics of that, and does it open it up for black players in the market?
Oh, definitely. So what this deal really is for the first time now, because of its significance, is that once you have a black player that can break that monopoly, our responsibility is to ensure that we are spending with other black-owned media owners. Because it's far easier to spend with media owners that are already there and established, but nowadays you've got people starting their own online radio stations, as an example. It's people that own wall murals in townships, and that now we can actually start spending on significantly. And that's how, we're going to grow our own media industry, so that it rests in South African hands.
So when we're saying that it's deep pockets, just how deep do the pockets go? Does that mean that through this partnership you have got access to billions of rands that you then can spend on the different platforms that you're mentioning?
Okay, so the nature of the media industry is as thus, right? So if I go to a TV station or a radio station and I want to buy advertising slots on those stations, I need to be able to front that money or have the relevant credit to purchase those particular slots, which means that if you don't have that money, it's very, very difficult to actually break in on a large scale. You can on a small scale, but when you get to your bigger scales, it becomes significantly more difficult. So in essence, when you look at a typical spend, let's say of a bank can easily spend 500 million rands on marketing, your big scale deals, 300 million, 400 million, 500 million. It's not abnormal. It's normal on the big scale deals. But the problem is with your South African players, they don't have access to that type of money and that type of credit. And hence why the global agencies then, when they come into the country, they come in with their international balance sheets. And therefore, when they get in, they are credit worthy enough, and they've got enough money to participate on a scale like that and the relevant tools, right? So what this deal really means is the Park Advertising buys for over 5 billion rands per annum. So it allows a black player like AMA, which we've just formed, it's fully owned by MNN, but they become a partner and they bring their balance sheet to the table. So for the first time, clients can buy from a 100% black-owned media agency on a very big scale, hundreds of millions. We can, in essence, buy up to $200 million.
So in that sense, is it only limited then to South African spend, or can we just now branch out and say, I'm looking at spending, for example, in Ghana, in Zambia, Nigeria, for example. How far does the reach then extend in terms of the pockets and what the pockets allow to buy?
So we can extend to the rest of the African continent as well, because this problem that I'm telling you about now, this 44 concentrated amongst those few companies is not necessarily a South African problem. It's an African problem. It exists in our continent, So in fact, the reason why I formed MNN with my partner, Velu Ngubane, was specifically for that, to unite Africans and for Africans to tell their own stories. Because as it currently exists right now, in order to run, let's say, an Africa-wide campaign, you have to go through one of the global networks. So in other words, you have to work through the United States, or you have to work through Europe, or Japan, depending who you're dealing with, right? But as Africans, to unite us in communication and run a single campaign, not possible purely, because the networks are not owned by us. But what this deal also does is that we can leverage our partner, Park Advertising, to do exactly that, and it's beginning the change in that form.
We're going to have to leave it there. Zibusiso Mkhwanazi, Executive Chairperson of MNN, just speaking to us about the significance of now the new form partnership of AMA, allowing obviously for those deep pockets in order for more advertising spend to be in the hands now of black-owned businesses.